All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tech Dad Impact. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at my game project, specifically some of the enemy types that I've created, and talk about the issues that I had with regards to creating them, and discuss game development issues and how it feels to work on these games with the Godot engine. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the video. So let's just start by opening up my project. It's called Superior R-Type, but in the end, not really sure what the game's going to be called. A lot of scenes opened up here. For the past 2 months, I've actually had very little time to put on the game project itself. First of all, I've been quite sick. That really sucked. I don't know what it was. Having said that, though, let's take a look at some of the enemy types that I've created for this game. So we're talking about a 2D shooter. And we're just going to open up this blueprint thing over here. For now, I'm just going to delete these two guys because they're not really relevant for the discussion as of yet. Anyway, we're talking about a 2D shooter. So most of the elements that I'm using, they're obviously sprites. This guy over here, I've stolen him from Super R-Type. It's one of my favorite games, but we'll be replacing it with my own ship design once we get there, Well, one of the enemies that I said that I would be creating is a turret. And so let's take a look at this turret type. These are the assets. I don't know if I really need to show those, but let's go to the scenes. In Godot, everything's basically a scene, a combination or a collection of different kinds of assets that basically come together to form a scene. And then you use those scenes in level scenes. Basically, they become small programs that work inside of your larger scenes. So let's take a look. Turret right over here. So turret PSCN. We'll drop this guy over here. And if we look at the inspector here, we can see that he's got health points here. We're going to give him 3 because I think the 5 is a little too much. Now the fire rate is 1 per every second. Detection range. So this is like the area that once my player ship enters it, the turret starts tracking you and shooting you. You got rotation speed, bullet speed. So 900 is like way too fast. So we're going to try 400. All right. Bullet damage is 1. Pretty much everything that damages your ship in this game is going to be 1 because you have like 3 health points. Once those are exhausted, you die, and that's it. So let's run the scene. So here, look. I moved outside of the range. The turret can't hit me now. Let's go up here. So it picks me up, see, and starts shooting at me. I think 400 is a pretty good speed. What do you guys think? So I can try and go around it. It'll keep tracking me. The bullets, once they leave the screen, they're removed from the game completely. But yeah, there you go. I can also go under it, but then it'll start shooting at its own collider. Not really sure how I feel about that, but to be honest, like, this thing is always going to be attached to some kind of a terrain or ground, so it wouldn't be able to shoot at you. It would be nice to make it stop shooting at these degrees, right? That'd be great. I might code that in. Right now, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to focus on getting things done so I can move on. But anyway, yeah. Get hit like that. You can also shoot at it. Flashes when I make a hit, and bam, there we go. It's destroyed. Now the cool thing about this guy over here is that we can obviously have more, and we can also rotate this guy. So let's put him like this. The rotation is taken into account in the code, so it doesn't matter really. Oh, by the way, since this is a new instance of this guy, so we're gonna have to give him the health again. Let's give this guy a little faster fire rate. So let's say 0.5 for every second. So basically, we'll have 2 shots per second. And we'll drive that. Oh crap, right. So that's what it looks like when a bullet comes at you, like 900 pixels per second. It's not as fast as my bullet though, which is 1600 pixels per second. And I can tell you right now, I was having some issues with colliders with these speeds. Anyway, let's take him out. Die. Yeah, I got him. Got him. Excellent. So, that's kind of fun, right? But let's go back to 400. I think That's a little more reasonable. But what we can do now is really drop the fire rate, right? Let's see what happens now. There we go. It's a machine gun now. So there's a fair bit of control when it comes to these turrets, like how I want to use them. You guys want to see when the player dies? Let's take it. This screen is supposed to also flash. I don't know what happens with the flash. We can check the debugger. Okay, this is a really, really easy fix to make. It is because the node 2D here. So it doesn't find, I guess, the screen flash through this node 2D canvas layer. You know, it seems to be attached to the level. Let me see. Screen flash, do we have it here? Yeah, here's the canvas layer screen flash. So basically for every level then, I would have to have this. Maybe I should attach this to the player itself and have it become level agnostic that way. All right, we've taken a look at the turret. I think it's pretty cool. I still need sounds, obviously, for the firing. If we want to take a look at, here's the animation player, by the way. So we've got the explosion, bam. I also have a particle system attached to it, so when the thing blows up, we've got particles shooting out. Always a good idea if you want to give more impact to the explosion itself. Recoil. So that's how it looks like when it shoots. I kind of like the idea that, you know, there's always like these tiny little animations when your cannon, your object does anything really. Let's go back to the blueprint. We'll remove these two turrets. And what should we use now? I'll show you guys Mosquito. Mosquito is very simple. Let's take the scene. So Mosquito is a ship type that basically just kind of flies at you at relatively high speeds and tries to hit you by touching you. Doesn't have a lot of health. Obviously, we can always change these attributes if we really want to. Right now, the health is just 1. You can see it here. If you kill it, it drops XP orbs. And we actually have a sound effect attached to its destruction. I'm not really happy with it, so I'll probably change. Here's the speed. We also have wave amplitude and frequency if we wanted to move up and down. A little bit like in, say, Metroid on the NES. You had these weird looking creatures that would fly horizontally and they go up and down. So we can do that, and we can also make the ship rotate with the angle as it goes up and down. And that might be a little much, to be honest. So I'll probably not use that. But another cool thing that we can do is, change this move angle degree, which would then make the ship move not, straight, but rather come at you from an angle. As I build the levels, there's probably going to be also 2D paths that these guys need to be able to follow, because that gives me, that level designer, well, me, greater control as to how I bring the ships in and in what patterns they fly. Let's take a look at the ships. So they're quite simple. We'll blow them up. We can collect the orbs. Yeah, we can also change. Let's see if this works. I'm not really sure if it's going to, but let's say 200, right? Move these guys a little bit here. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, okay, works. So as you can see, let's try 224. And let's move these guys a little closer and see what happens. So with this kind of movement, you probably might, I could change the rotation to motion. Let's try that. Let's see if it works. I can't remember if I coded that. Well, it kind of works. I'll have to flip it. Cool stuff, right? Let's just put 180. I think that was straight, right? All right, and then let's give him amplitude. So let's say 15 and 2. No idea how that's going to look like, but we'll see now, won't we? All right. All right. That's hard to hit. Let's say 1. See, it slows down. Yeah, okay. So the wave amplitude is like, this is in pixels. So I think, so there we go. We're fairly fast. We can also drop the speed a little bit and say, hey, 150, so half of what they're using now. And so now it's weird. Let's say, let's take half of what it was originally and see how that comes in. So basically, you know, try things out a lot. I would say maybe 50. And let's see. Right. Let's see how that amplitude works out. All right, so that would maybe make a little bit of sense, right? As if not to have the movement be so erratic. There we go. So the point is to have quite a bit of options when you throw these enemies on the screen, you know, stuff that you can immediately change and use, because, you know, sometimes you don't necessarily think of things beforehand, and then you might start thinking, well, you know, it would be kind of nice if I could do this or that. So I want to have these basic things available for me. And then, like, if I needed like really just surgical solutions for the gameplay, then I can, you know, build that stuff into as I build the level. That's the mosquito though. Very simple enemy. Let's take a little more complex enemy type now. Something that I might have actually shown you guys already. This is the halberd, and it's a more armored enemy type. Has a lot more attributes put into it. So this green line that you see here, it's basically a collider. As soon as I go into it, it activates the halberd, and I place it in this specific position on the level. And basically what it means is once I cross this line, the enemy takes that position and starts shooting at you. Now, the reason why it's shooting at me is because I've actually given the shot count 3. It's taking 2 seconds, like it's staying in that position for 2 seconds, and after that it leaves. So there's entry speeds, there's exit speeds, there's the entry sides. So if I take number 1, so let's see what happens now. See, it comes from the bottom. You can also put number 2. Wait a minute. Well, that doesn't seem to work at all. Let's see what happens now. That was weird, like the line just didn't show up. Let's say number 3. Okay. Well, that's kind of weird. All right, let's say 4. It should have a line. Okay, so that's 4. Okay, so now it's back to the original, which is 0. So why didn't number 2 work? It used to work. That's much I know. I'll have to get back to that. I don't know why that is. Well, let's say, okay, we're gonna try this. We'll say number 1, so it comes from the bottom, because it should be able to attack from behind as well. Let's do this. I'm just gonna move it backwards. Okay, that's not the problem. We'll put it here. Maybe it's just the collider is not. It's not showing it. That is so weird. Okay, so I'll have to take a look at that. But let's just, you know, regardless, take a look at the basic function. So we have entry speed, which is how fast the halberd actually enters into the screen, how fast it exits once it's done doing whatever it's doing. So the whole time can also be much longer than just 2 seconds. We can give it a shot count of like 1,000 if you really want to, but it has to be controlled by fire rate. And so that kind of means like if your whole time is very short, then there's no way it's going to be able to shoot all of the shots that it wants to shoot. And so it'll just cut off and like leave the screen once it's done, right? So let's just say 3, let's say 4 and make it a little faster. So like 0.25, and the whole time is 3 seconds, okay? And all right, here we go. Comes in, starts shooting at me, and as it leaves, it drops these mines, okay? And these mines, actually, I wanted to show you that how far they detect the player. So it's kind of like a pulse that it would emit. I want to have that, because right now it doesn't really tell you that, but if you go close enough, it'll start hunting, chasing you down. So you can actually decide how many mines you drop, what's the spacing between the mines, and so on. So there's granularity. All right, let's destroy this guy now. I'll take 15 shots. So there's a larger explosion. It's a larger enemy. I'll have like particles fly off and pieces come off as it explodes also. I don't want to spend too much time on those kinds of things. Those are finishing touches. Let's see if it understands the exit side still. I'm not really sure why it stopped functioning. Right, so shoots. Okay, so it starts moving backwards. So if I had like 2, it should come from back there. Okay, well, for some reason it's not working now. I'll figure it out and maybe report back to you. Once I'm done fixing it, it's probably something very minor, and I'm not really even sure if it's something that you guys would be interested in. But that's the halberd. I do also have a basic drone enemy. So I can drop this here. This is like one of these guys that I just created recently. Very simple enemy type. So it just kind of moves forward right now, but you know, we can give it a path 2D. So it can make more complex movements. We can also affect its movement, give its amplitudes and whatnot, you know. And then there's gameplay options that we can provide to it. Health is 1 right now, and that's what it's going to be in the game as well. It's a very basic enemy type, and the idea is to have a whole bunch of them on the screen for you to kind of slaughter and just collect XP orbs in order to be able to get your stronger weapons for the stronger enemy types. So we'll just blow these guys up. Right now, as I blow these guys up, I notice that the the explosion animation shows up here. So its global positioning, for some reason, is up here instead of being positioned over the destroyed vehicle. Also, these darker pieces that you see, these are kind of supposed to keep moving and like kind of disperse more as you destroy the enemy type. They're just broken down pieces, and there's like a 33% chance of these appearing. Yeah, it's just trash, you know, that I want to have show up as you destroy the enemies. It just feels nicer that way. All right, so these are some of these basic enemies. Let me see if there's any others that I feel like I can demonstrate and show you guys. Well, there's Orbital. So Orbital is a very, I'm not going to actually show it here because it doesn't really do anything as of yet. So Orbital is going to be a kind of a sensor of a drone that, let's play it here. Actually, I just want to show the animation. So this is kind of what it looks like when it animates. So these guys appear around you and then as a circle, right? And then they start contracting and you're supposed to blow them up. Or they can be part of some larger construct where you have to hit one of these guys who has the right kind of a coloring on him. Another thing that I do have here, let's get this. Actually, I'm somewhat interested in seeing if this actually works in this level for some reason. Let's see. Well, a lot of enemies. So this is kind of like a test level that I've been building on. And if you guys see this stuff, like these are the hazards or the graphics that I built. Right now, you can collide with them, but for some reason, I used to have like colliders on them that would not allow you to enter inside of these things. So anyway, the thing that I wanted to show you guys was not that, but rather these asteroids. There's like 3 different types that I've designed. There's like a large asteroid. These are mid-sized asteroids, and there's small ones. And as I blow this thing up, it actually breaks down to smaller pieces. And so if I was to destroy a large one, which I haven't really done yet, but you know, it's under the works, it would break into one of these mid-sized ones and two smaller ones. And you'll have these kind of like flying around the level. Kind of destroy them like that, right? And pieces will come off and randomly fly around. Yeah. I did work on this spawn ship thing, spawn station. So there's this spawn station. As you move close enough to this thing, it will activate. It will open up. Let's see. Destruction. Let's see if that works. Well, there's the explosion, right? Bam. Hatch open. So this is how the hatch opens up, right? And it's going to be on ground, so you won't be able to see these things sticking out, obviously. And then it closes once all the enemies are out. Yeah. So these spew out enemy types, small enemy types, so that, you know, there'll be a slight bother, but probably not too much for you guys to handle. Yeah. So let's take those collisions off. This is how it looks like. That's a lot of the stuff that I've been working on. I can also show you guys some of the sprite work. So this is my enemies file. It's if you look at the layers here, it's a hell of a mess. And the reason why it is, this is where I just kind of like drop and start drawing, right? And it's supposed to be the kind of file where I don't have to like think too much, try to think too hard. It's just, you see all the other stuff that you've drawn, and I can just drop, you know, a new asset in and start editing it, and then bring it into the game. It's a very messy way of working, but this is how I like to do these enemies. So, you know, so here I'm actually working on an animation. It's going to be a fairly simple one. I want this bee drone to be able to turn around, and so I'll create some frames for it, so that once it turns around, it doesn't just like flip, even though that'd probably be, for an indie game, especially a small game like mine, that would probably be the best, fastest, quickest, dirty solution, you know. But regardless, I'm going to do these frames. All right. So I wanted to show you guys something from here. Oh yeah, that's right. So this is like the old type of pixelated graphics that I've created for the platform elements in the level. And I kind of decided that I didn't want to do that because it just looks a little ugly. And so instead, I repainted these guys. So these are some of the larger chunks that I have. And if you look at it, like there's a lot more gradients and softer tones and stuff. Like there's far more color being used here. The edges are still very harsh, you know, but you know, everything inside, I've tried to paint this stuff properly. So that's kind of taking a little bit of time. Here's like a basic piece that I use all over the place. So I'm just trying to do a lot of these so that once I start making the level, I can combine these in different ways. Like this, if you could look at this, I'm not done with the coloring as of yet. You got these very harsh, blocky, crunchy pixels. So I'm trying to make it more smooth. Obviously, these guys are going to retain their pixelated look. It works better, I just feel like. Oh, also, this is an enemy type, right? So he's not done yet, but he's going to be a ship that shoots a lot of guided rockets at you. So this is, look at this. This is a rocket. So these guys, they show up and they start bombarding you with these guided missiles. Here's another type of enemy. These are like what I thought about spawning out of the spawn stations. They actually exist in the game already, but this is like the head portion, if I remember correctly. And then we have, no, actually I think it's these guys. Yeah, these are the guys that kind of come out. And then I kind of didn't like it. I just don't like the way that they look. Decided to do something else. But yeah, this is kind of what I've played around with and thought about, try to figure out how the first level would look like. This guy over here is probably going to be a mid-level boss. And yeah, haven't figured out the coding part at all. I'm still working on the graphics here. And then trying to figure out if I want to have these specific parts of the ship move separately from one another to kind of give it more, I don't know, rickety feel. Also, these enemy types exist here. They're kind of like mines, but I want them to be able to shoot at you and stuff, but to be heavily armored. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it, if it comes into the game, it's going to be awesome. Just letting you know right now. So background elements. So this guy over here, haven't implemented into the level yet, but it will be there soon. And these guys over here are background graphics that I feel like I want to use. So like you'll have, well, these guys anyway are going to be different meteorite parts that float in the background. And then we have these pieces here, separate pieces that kind of be around the larger chunks, because they're pieces that are kind of flying with these guys. I feel it just makes it look a little nicer, right? I just need to make sure that people understand that these things don't damage you, All right. So it's a bit of a mess, but it makes sense to me because, once I'm done, I'll just grab one of these guys over here and copy it and, put it on a separate file and then import it into Godot and start working on it. Yeah. And this guy is going to be the large asteroid chunk. You can destroy this. And this is the medium one that we already have. And then here's the small one. So these are the ones that I'm going to be using. And there's going to be like sections in this level where like it's like a meteor rain, like just this mass of different meteorites will be flying past the level and you'll have to like shoot your way through them. I hope it's going to be fun, We'll see. All right. I think that's all that I really feel like demonstrating to you guys at this point. This project has been a lot of fun. I'll keep working on it. Hopefully I'll be a lot faster now that I'm feeling a lot better. Yeah, I just really want to get to the point where I have all this extra stuff that I've wanted to do for this level for the longest time, and then see how that stuff works and how difficult it's going to be to code this stuff in. But anyway, yeah, this has been Tech Impact, and you guys been looking at my game project, Super Axotype. Whether or not it's going to be called that, I don't know in the end, but that's what I will call it right now. If you like to listen to me yammer about this stuff, drop me a message. Let me know what you think about this stuff. Subscribe if you feel like it, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon again. Have a good one. Bye.